Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today we're going to talk to you about your nut height and your saddle height and why you should not raise these heights up at all, okay? I mean, if you need to lower them because they're already too high, that's one thing, but don't be raising them up. I've watched a few YouTube channels where they talk about this sort of thing, and they say the benefits are is you'll have more volume out of your guitar and you'll have a better sounding guitar. Now, they're probably onto something as far as the sound of the guitar goes, but it's not going to work for every guitar, okay? Some guitars it may be a benefit to, but the majority, no. Same with the sound output. Some of them, it may raise the volume. Most of them, it's not going to do anything for it. And a couple of things they're not going to tell you is that it's going to wreck your guitar. It really will over time. Every guitar has a certain amount of pressure between the headstock and the bridge. And the guitars are built in such a way that they can only withstand a certain amount of excessive force, okay? And things are going to start caving in on your body, on your top, and your bridge is going to start ripping off, okay? So, you know, going to a heavier gauge string alone could do that to your guitar, could destroy it, without having to do this, you know, nut and saddle mod dealy. Alright, the other thing is, it's going to raise your string heights up much higher than what they are now. So if you're used to a low action, like I am, which makes the guitar extremely playable, okay, now you're going to have a much higher string height. Now you're going to have to press really hard on the strings to get them to ring out properly, okay, which is also going to knock you out of tune because you're stretching the string too far because now you've got more distance to travel down than what you had. The other thing is they're trying to say that you can lower the action back to where it was. Well, no, you can't. It's impossible. It cannot be done. Okay, once you raise the height here and the height here, it all goes up higher. And then if you want to try bringing it down more, you might be able to get away with a smidge, right? But not very much, all right? Because your neck can only withstand going so straight, and then it back bows. And as soon as it starts to back bow where you have your truss rod too tight, that's when things start to snap apart in here. So I mean, really, this is an absolutely unsafe, ridiculous, stupid modification that is going to do nothing more than destroy your guitar. It may work for a little while, okay, and it may improve the sound, and it may raise the volume output of your guitar a little bit, but it's going to wreck your guitar. Seriously. Even going to a heavier gauge string, it's going to change your intonation on you because now your strings are going from sitting inside the nut to on top, which is another thing they're trying to say is that if you build a new nut and have the string sitting on top, that's better. No, that's actually worse because now you have a tendency for string roll to happen where the string can pop out of the nut slot because now there's not much of a slot there anymore, okay? And it's going to change your intonation, and it's going to change your playability too, because it's almost like raising your nut height up higher, okay, by having your strings sitting on top of the slots, right? So now this end is much higher for your first couple frets. Now it's even harder to play. So I don't know what these guys think they're accomplishing here, but all they're doing is causing the destruction of the guitar. So if you go ahead and do these mods and have them done, you're going to wreck your guitar. Whether it's a cheaper one or a really expensive one, I will guarantee you, you will destroy your guitar. Okay, now as far as volume of a guitar goes, every guitar, they have different body thicknesses here and in here. You know, some are really thin, some are really thick. You know, this is a thicker one. This is your typical dreadnought body. Okay, and it's quite a nice sounding guitar with the right strings. Okay, and you can play it soft, or you can play it loud. But if you want it even louder than what it can go, I would suggest you take the smarter route, put a pickup in your guitar of some sort, and go and jack into an amplifier. And if you're still not happy with the bass and treble response, guess what? You've got an amplifier that has those controls. You can control and dictate that on that end at least. You're still not going to change this end, but you will change that end. Now a sound hole pickup will change the waveform patterns and how your guitar reacts in its sound tonal quality, okay? Because you're blocking the hole a bit, right? So you're also changing volume output capability. My guitar is actually louder without the pickup in there than it is with, okay? And I also have different frequency responses with and without the pickup, okay? But I need the pickup in order to plug into an amplifier. And for 70 bucks, this was a cheap way to go. And I modified the pickup so I could put a jack here instead of having a wire dangle out all over the place. And by reducing the length of the wire, also changes how the pickup is going to react as well. So now it's a very short trip to go from the guitar to the amp instead of a very long trip. Okay, so that changes the sound sensitivity of the pickup. It changes its tonality a little bit because the frequencies can move around faster, so that there's not so much tonal loss, right? So you're getting better tone that way out of the pickup. And I've had this thing jacked into a 10-watt amplifier at full blast, and I have not had one bit of feedback. Why? Because it's a neodymium magnet pickup, which is a lot different than those cheap little junky sound hole pickups that feedback like a mother. Like even some of the more expensive guitars, I was looking at a Taylor guitar that's acoustic electric from the factory, and it's got one of these saddle type pickups underneath, which means you have to remodify the saddle to lower it back down when you're going to use one of those type of pickup systems. And that guitar, no matter what amp we tried it on at the store, it feedback like crazy because it's crappy electronics. Taylor, they make wonderful sounding guitars, beautiful instruments, but they don't know a damn thing about electronics, you know. Where you get a company like Takamine or Takamine, they make beautiful electronics and beautiful guitars, and a hell of a lot cheaper too. Okay, you know, and cheaper doesn't always mean cheaper. Okay, as far as quality goes, you can get some really good quality stuff for less money than buying a really super high-end guitar like a Taylor or a Guild or a Martin, and so on. Okay, so you don't always get what you pay for. Sometimes you get more and spend less. Alright, and I am looking into a Takamine guitar that's a cutaway with electronics, and I've heard this guitar on YouTube, the exact model I'm after, and I'm pretty happy with what I've heard on the YouTube, and I know there's going to be a difference either way in real life, and I won't be able to get the opportunity to hear it for myself until I actually buy it and have it shipped to me, because my local music store no longer carries Takamine products, so I got to order it in from, I think it's Mississauga, it's another company. But that's fine, I'm sure I'll be happy with my purchase either way. But, and you know, that guitar is only about $140 more than what this one is new. This is $400, you know, so, and this is still a nice guitar, but it also doesn't have a solid top, which I want solid. This is laminated, so it's a little tinnier. I want a little bit better bass response, is what I'm after, and I'm after a cutaway. Now with a cutaway you're also going to end up with a little bit more treble, but it gets compensated for because the Takamine is also a little bit thicker body, and the sound in the woods are such that it's still not losing that sound I'm after. The end sound, of course, I'm after, it can only be gotten in a Martin, but that's the way it goes, and that's looking like it ain't going to happen for a while. Because for Martin to build me a guitar, they want half the money up front, and I don't have $1,500 right now, so yeah, it's going to have to wait. But in the meantime, I'll be with what I have. But, so don't do this stupid modification. It is just that, it is stupid, it is self-destructing the guitar over time. It may not happen in a month or two, it may take up to a year, it could take more than a year, but it will destroy your guitar, that I will guarantee you, and you will have a much difficult time playing with a higher nut and higher saddle. And when they're talking about doing this mod too, they're also talking about when they make the new nut, they're also going to be using the strings sitting on top instead of in the slots. Okay? Again, a very bad move, and it makes it sit even higher. Okay? I mean, there's a certain amount of space. I mean, if you go from the last fret to the first fret, and you take a look down the neck, you should have just the very slightest of an upward bow. Okay? Which my guitar has, and my strings are so low, it is ridiculous. Like when I push down here, not one fret will you fit a dime on between the string and the fret wire. they're that low, and I have no buzzing, okay, which is perfect setup as far as I'm concerned. And I don't have to put a lot of pressure on it either. And this has not been altered. You know, the only thing, I mean, I put a little tiny tweak on the neck myself, but I haven't touched the nut, I haven't touched the saddle, and it was pretty well perfect, you know, the way I got it, but, you know, I wanted just a slight bit lower, just the slightest bit, and I was able to get away with it. That's the only tweak I've done to this thing. Now, if you want to change the tonality of your guitar too, different strings, guys, experiment with different brands of strings, because even in the same gauge of string, a different brand of string with different materials being used is not going to sound the same, okay? Like I use Martin Lights, alright? If you want to use Slinkies or some other brand out there, or I don't know, Diodario's, you can use them too. This thing came with a set of Diodario's on it, and they're really good. They're really long playing strings in the sense that you get a lot of time out of them, okay, before you have to swap them. Same with the Martins, but I still prefer the sound of the Martin strings, you know, over the Diodario's for my acoustic. Where my electrics, they all use Diodario, okay? And my one guitar uses Fender and Diodario. Just depends on the mood I'm in that week when I buy new strings. So, but, I don't know. But that's my thoughts, that's my opinion and advice for you guys. If you want to be stupid and do the mod, have it done, whatever, go ahead, but it's your guitar that you're about to turn into firewood. I like to keep mine plain for years and years to come. So there you go. Thanks, have a great day, and as always, smash that subscribe button if you're not already, and you'll get new updates, and catch you later. Bye.